Welcome all to this lecture in the Roskilde series of lectures that we are organizing now for the past 2.5 to 3 years. This is a very special one. I'm very happy to host this one, which is a lecture on a special project started, I think, about 2 years ago. But our speakers of tonight will be more precise on that one. First of all, I want to say some practical things, and that is, you can see it also in the chat, that you can choose your language of preference to listen to this evening. It can be in Ukrainian or in English. You have to go on the top of your bottom of your screen to choose the interpretation button and choose Ukrainian or English to follow the whole simultaneous translations in one of the languages. For looking now, okay. Looks like all's good. The lecture is also recorded and will be on our YouTube channel later on. So also you can look it back or refer to other people who can't be here tonight to follow this lecture, but also all the previous ones. We are already number 27, so there's a lot to see on the Rosfit YouTube channel. As I said tonight, a special one. It's about Hirska community, a community under occupation, of which one of the community leaders approached Rosfit to think with them on, basically how to keep the community together. They did already pretty well, but how to think with them together on the future of the Romada and in what way exactly. So that is what the project is all about. A volunteer project for Rosfit, but very dear to us all, and the longer time proceeded, we thought also very relevant also to share with you and with other Romadas maybe in the future. It could be an example project of a certain kind. Like I said, we have two speakers tonight, Jolanta Zarzika and Sofia Bondar, both part of Rosfit. One as coalition member and the other one as team leader for several projects within Rosfit, and both urban planners by profession. Yolanta, very long international career in different capacities and having her own company. And Sophia basically the same, also as a freelance worker within her own company. So without further ado, I give the floor to them. They will first tell about their findings and the whole process, how the whole project developed. And after that, there is ample room for discussion, for debate, for your questions, for your suggestions maybe also. So please be engaged, ask your questions. You can use the Q&A for that, but we can also bring you into the conversation by let you entering the screen and ask your question in person. You can do that again in either Ukrainian or English as you prefer yourself. So without much further ado, I give the floor first to Sophia, who will also share the screen and the presentation. So thank you both for being here, and I'm looking forward.
Okay, I guess I can start. Can you hear me? Yeah, perfect. So maybe first of all, the name lecture does not really appeal to me because I feel this project is really a learning project. It's learning for us, it's learning for the community, and we would be very happy to share with you the feedback of what we did, how we did, and hear your feedback, what could be done better, and what you think about this project. So I'm very happy to be here tonight with you because this project is really very special to me. And I already consider this project and the possibility to complete something and deliver something for the occupied community as something really unique. Because there are not too many projects for occupied territories. So for us, it was really difficult start as well. As Lilet already mentioned, we met 2 years ago. We met Hirska Gromada in Lviv Urban Forum. And since then, we were approached by the administration with request to provide to them some support, some projects, but nobody really knew at this time what kind of projects. So the expectations were different. And then we had to first come to some kind of agreement what we could deliver and what is possible and whether it will be useful. So initially, we focused on the fact that the territory is occupied, so there's no access, which means there are no donors to work for such situation, or we couldn't find any anyway. And it's hard to predict what will be the future of this territory. So this was our first concern. But then we found out that the community is so determined, is so really well organized, despite the fact that they are located in different places across Ukraine and abroad. And looking into this and discussing, we decided to focus more on how we can support the community itself rather than how we can prepare an urban planning advisory or document. And that's how it started. So next slide, please, Sophia. Having said that, we decided to first of all work with people and for people, and the approach was to really understand the needs and on this basis build some sort of proposals together. So we didn't know at the beginning how the project will end, and it was a working process. But what was really great about the project is that we worked, of course, in digital way mainly, but each time we were meeting together with the team of ours, our volunteers, or together with the community representatives, everyone was smiling. So you can see it here. The process itself was already bringing a value to the community. This was bringing good spirits. It was bringing some hope. So let's walk together through the process and see how it went, and then we can hear your feedback and maybe recommendations what could be applicable elsewhere. Sophia, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Jolanta. I need to change the channel, and I can do it while I'm sharing. So I will stop the sharing and change the channel. Отже, я тут. Знову шарю екран.
Okay, so here I am, and here is my screen again. Sorry, guys, technical issues. I apologize for this delay. Right. Okay.
Шарю екран.
Here we are. Here's my screen.
Отже, так. Дякую.
Thank you very much, Jolanta, for your introductory words. And really, this was a unique project, unique in the fact that despite the community's horrible experience of occupation, still, as you see, they are very positively charged and they're very, very cheerful in that, and they are people of light. So this is what inspires us to work together. So we started with the fact that we needed to understand what the community is represented. What is it? We started gathering information from open sources. Administration supported us in every way. And in general, we learned that Hirska community is located in Luhansk Oblast. It used to have 38,000 of population. And since, 2014, it already experienced war because it was right on the demarcation line, on the front line. And in 2022, it was totally occupied, and it is occupied at present, presently. And so this Hromada was relocated together with this administration. As you see, war has brought a lot of ruination. It is difficult to give precise figures of the damaged objects, but we know that some of them are destroyed to the ground. Economically, the Hromada was steeped in heavy industry. It had mines, but also it developed its small and medium-sized scale business. So we also knew that the area features some beautiful landscapes and it had some tourism potential. And so this was our input. It was clearly not enough, but generally in the situation of uncertainty, because the Hromada is occupied, people are scattered all over the Ukraine, and some people are also residing in foreign countries. We understood that we cannot plan anything. We must opt for scenario thinking. So we cannot have just one option and be sure that it will work. And this is a very sensitive topic because we were trying to see how to present this idea of scenario thinking, because we all would like to live in the bright future. We would like Ukraine to win, but we cannot exclude other possible scenarios. And so how to talk about all these options in the correct way with the Hromada, because the people are eager to return home, and it was quite a sensitive question for us. And so we used various words here, whether this is like a possible scenario, and then we came to the idea to call it like scenario thinking, and we approached administration with that. And you know what? Administration was very adequate about it, and they said, okay, let's start working. So afterwards, we have agreed that we are, after we have agreed that we are working in the scenario way, we needed to base everything that we have on the existing community, because we understood Hirska Hromada is the people, and that is why we conducted certain participatory events. We conducted 2 offline workshops, one in Khmelnytsky, and we involved more than 140 people, the former residents of the Hromada. And one of the points, the key point here, was for us to understand whether people are eager to return and under what conditions. And also we needed to understand the values of the community. That is why during our surveys, we first of all actually mapped the former residents. We cleared out what they are doing, and we asked them the question, would they like to return to the Hirska community? So, yes, of course, there should be some conditions prior to their return, but they understood definitely that the developments could be different, but the community showed that it was very much ready to think about various scenarios. So we discussed what would be the conditions, under what conditions people would return to the Hirska Hromada and what kind of developments are possible for the Hromada. And we were not surprised to see that actually these were the three basic things: jobs, security, safety, and housing. We understand that these are the key criteria for people to return because jobs, safety, and so they could be found elsewhere, but to understand the particulars here, we also conducted another workshop to understand what exactly Hirska community is. And we gathered memories of people who were talking about their youth, about their growing up in the community. We asked the people to map the places, the locations on the map, which they would like to show to their grandchildren, maybe. And so they opened up to us. We got a lot of memories, and we got a very clear understanding what the values were. And here I would like really to read you one memory. I was running together with my friends to the fields to gather peas. We were baking potatoes next to the river side. And these are like images, but they are much more truthful and much more valuable. And actually, these are the images of the previous life people had. And we also conducted longer interviews. There were quite a lot of memories about that. People during the workshops were embracing each other, they were crying. And the most frequent topics mentioned were about culture, holiday, sports, nature, community, how they came together. They were about school and about mines and about mining as a job. And we actually, it was a process which was very important both for us and for the community, because we managed to understand the community itself and its members and their values. And for them, it was a kind of a therapeutic session to recall their young youth, their younger years, and to live through the traumatic events together. So, as a result of our surveys, we identified 5 key directions. So, once again, safety and security, housing, economy, ecology, and social cultural development. We understood very clearly the most important conditions of return. These were the economy, jobs, safety, and housing, but also the other important conditions were ecology, social infrastructure, psychology, psychological support, keeping the identity, maintaining the identity, and memorialization. And we realized that these memories also voice the values of the Hromada. And a separate way to say here is that the thing that consolidates the community is the respect towards minors, their love for agrarian landscapes, the love of nature and beautiful landscapes. So we tried to put it together in a matrix, and actually this revealed to us that specific directions are manageable in terms of our impact, and we actually can work with that, and we can suggest proposals. And so we're going to be to speak about that in more detail. And we again used our scenario thinking to provide the variance. After the participatory events, after we got the inputs, in the shape of memories, we understood that we need to document that. And because we are urban planners, we are working with maps. So we decided to use this instrument, and we decided to map these memories. And people were sending us pictures, their memories, their audio recordings, and we tried to translate those into maps. I will flip through these very quickly, but actually we managed to map everything that we got, and it is a very important instrument because actually we do not have any access to the territory. All the former residents are living in different towns, different cities, and the only thing that brings them together is this oral history, memories, which must be discussed and documented. And this is one of the many tools which we can use. So, there are a lot of memories we learned through those people about like bakery, the favorite bakery in one of the towns of the community, or we learned that the people really love the landscapes, and this is our favorite map. We have collected here all the beautiful memories, and you know, there was so many memories about strawberry, wild strawberry in the forests. And now I would like to give the floor to Jolanta, who's going to speak about the recommendations we have formulated after our surveys and research. Jolanta, you have the floor.
Yes, thank you. Thanks, Sophia, for this like decent explanation of the richness of the database we really collected. And the question now we came to was, okay, what are we going to do with all this information we received? It's so like rich, it's so diverse. And how are we going to get a next step and propose something? Yes, thanks. Next one. Next slide, please. We came back then to the phases, to the different scenarios we discussed at the beginning. So actually referring to the different possible situations. The first and obvious situation is now, as it is now, when the territory is under occupation. The other end is when the territory is fully accessible and there is no war. So the beauty future. But in the middle, we have also something like returning possibilities. Maybe the war continues. It's not fully safe, but it's already possible to go to the territory. And then we thought, okay, this is not only scenarios, but this can be also phases of development of the community and recovery. And then we thought, right, so we know these three situations, these are our assumptions. The community, the administration agreed with the scenarios, and then we thought, what would be the goal of development of each of this situation? So in the situation where we are now under occupation, we decided that the goal would be to keep the community together. It's already a big value what they present now, and let's not lose it. And second thing is to keep the memories, but also to start preparing the returning and recovery. Then the second phase is we should focus on safety. Okay, there will be possibility to return, but it's not fully safe. So what can we do to make it safe? And also what kind of investments or organizational actions could be undertaken to prepare some sort of anchors so people can understand that it's okay to come back and make this decision. They will know that there is something awaiting them. And then the third scenario, the third actual phase, it's not only fully recovered community, but also a community which is built better. So we would want to introduce the build back better principle in this scenario with this green solutions, sustainability, and recovery of environment. Next, please. here you can see as like a summary of the process. So based on the directions which we recovered or discovered through the surveys and speaking interviews with the community, understanding their values and conditions of return, we tried to propose a selection of projects. Next, please. Okay. We came up with a list of 31 projects, and here you can see the total summary of them. And while these projects are focused on the given phase to which they like initially belong, then we started to think about the follow-ups and maybe preparatory phases in preparation. I will explain it in a few minutes based on the concrete examples. So here you can see the list of projects and then the phase to which the project belong with the follow-ups. But also we tried to identify the community values which the project address to have an overview and make sure we have a good balance, and also to the sustainable development goals, which might be important in the future for, in application for funds for the recovery. Next, please. In addition to thinking in the way of phases and scenarios, we decided to look into the links between those projects because they are not like hanged in the empty space. If we think, for example, about temporary housing, we need to have the land available, so we need to plan which part of the city will be the best for it. But we also need to think about the mining, so all these explosives are removed. Then we need to think about like transport connections. So there are a lot of elements which formed this approach, this project definition way of thinking. But you can also see the colors here, and the colors correspond to the directions which we already described. So safety, security, housing, economy, ecology, and the social and cultural part. And you can, I guess, notice that in the first phase we have domination of the blue color, which is related to social and cultural projects. Then in the middle phase is the red, which is the safety and security. And then and the third one, we have a mix of everything, but economy seemed to be prevailing. So this is really a booming community. Next, please. I would like to present you now some of the project examples. Of course, it's not possible to show all, but just to understand our way of thinking. First of all, we made a short description what the project is about, to which phase it belongs, but also you can see here the links with the other projects. And for example, if we speak here about the temporary housing outlining, outlining means preparing. So this is the first phase. And in this phase, as outputs, we would think about locations, about some sort of master planning, key assumptions, but also training people, training the staff and the community and the administration in this kind of forward-thinking design and future-proof design. So if we speak about temporary, which means we don't want to lose the investment in the future, so we need to think in advance how it will be changed later. And the next, please. It's about the same project line related to housing, but now we are in the second phase, and the temporary housing definition now is converted into actually providing the houses. And here we thought not only about houses as such, but also about giving examples of the modern solutions of the green technologies, of the sustainable way of managing the infrastructure, of circularities, and also on the digital solutions. So this temporary housing could be also demonstration examples of how to build in the way we would like to build in the modern world. And then you can see different connections. I think we don't have much time to go through that, but maybe just some examples. If you see this project P26 is related to, for example, the red P16, and this one means urban documentation recovery. So it means that there is another project which is very important in this and linked with that kind of approach. Or if we think about, for example, P110, which is the yellow one in the line below, it is about preparing a kind of building guidance and design code. It can be done in the earlier phase, and this is the links which we were looking at. Here it's also we are building this project also on the fact that the staff and the administration was trained well to manage such approach and to be able to organize the administration of this temporary housing. And then the next one, also related to housing, I think. Next slide. So we are still staying in the same line. And then the temporary housing needs to be converted in the third stage. It's not needed anymore as temporary housing, but because we prepared well this project, we know what we would like to do with it. And here it can be converted into a library, into community center, or anything which the community would like to see. But the most important is that we didn't lose the investment. It doesn't need to be demolished. It has a future. Next one, please. So another example, again, about the urban documentation recovery. And here it's presented as a project, and you can see to how many other projects it's linked. So it's really very, very important. Here it also gives a possibility to demonstrate to the community how important it is to recover the documentation, and maybe to ask some donors for funding to start this process. Next one. Again, project which is aligned with the housing building material recovery program. Again, it needs preparation to know that there will be a lot of rubble, but it's also opportunity to recover some of the materials, to be sustainable, and to use the materials in circular way. But it has to be prepared. So training the staff, looking into places which should form the depots, how they are connected, and also training the staff to be able to manage this kind of action. This is the first stage, which can be already prepared now, and it can be useful also for other municipalities. So capacity building is very important in this process as well. Okay, next one. So every project which was listed, every project of this 31 projects listed has this kind of card. But then we thought, well, okay, the community really needs to apply for different funds and have some financial support. And this documentation is so complex that to help navigate the possible donors through this document, we decided to extract the specific investment opportunities, and we grouped them into a few blocks, so related to logistics, farming and food, green energy, but also information technology and constructions. And here it's possible to immediately see in which projects those opportunities can be found. Okay, next one. I think this gives a good recommendations or example for other gromadas in the front line. While preparing this project, we also realized that it may be not interesting for occupied territories, but also for any displaced communities. So we could think about scaling up this project and also looking into places where communities had to leave their territory because of the not only military operations, but also climate change, disasters, or planned investments. Next, Sophia, please. Coming back to working with the community, we thought, okay, we just prepared this digital document, but it will be nice to give them something which is physical, which they cannot put their feet on the ground, but maybe they can take in their hand some collection of the maps and the information about the community and look back into it. And we meant it as a kind of live document, and we would like to encourage the communities to and the members of the community to add memories, to work on it, to draw on it, to add cards. So I think Marina, who is representing Hirska, will give us some feedback how it was received and what the municipality thinks about the project. The next one, Sophie. I would like to also present here this team of this project. So this is a fully voluntary work. You can see our team members. Sofia is here with us, but there are more of us. Fulco Treffers, and then Tatiana Samiliv and Alice Alexandrova as well. Plus the great team of the Hirska administration. And we have Oleksiy Babchenko, very active. Marina Kravtsova, who we met first time in Lviv Urban Forum and was always with us, always supporting. Then we have Vitaly Kovalenko, Yulia Bila, Irina Bielitska, and Yevgenia Shevchenko. So this is our great team, and thanks for your contribution. And the next one. While giving the floor to Marina, I would just like to keep this slide on, and if any of you is interested in getting more information about the project, about the content and access to the project, you can scan the QR code and get to the link to the project. I would like to also introduce the further discussion, saying that we have a plan. It's not the end. The project is live. We would like to scale up the project. We think it's important, and it has a potential to support many communities, as already mentioned. So our plan is to make more projects of this type for maybe 3 to 5 municipalities to prove the concept. And then on this basis, fine-tune the methodology and try to develop it as a sort of tool. And then at the end, we would like to make some capacity building and populate, train the communities about how to use this methodology. So I think we can give the floor to Marina now. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much for this fantastic and inspiring talk. I think it's really a project of love and care, and that also tells in the way you talk about it how much you cared for the work and doing it. There is in the meantime a request for a slide to come back on screen, Sophia, the strawberry field. I think we can also share the presentation later on, but somebody wants to make a screenshot of it now. At the same time, I will invite Marina to the screen and hear her. Yeah, it's a beautiful one.
I just wanted to mention, if I can, that if you scan the QR code, the whole project is accessible there. So all the maps you can see.
Yeah, that's great. So it's really very accessible and open source. There you are again, after 2 years seeing you in Lviv. So nice to see you again. And yeah, it would be great if you, from your perspective, could tell a little bit about how you saw this project, why you initiated it, and what do you think now, and if you also see a future for the project. So 3 questions, basically. Sorry to put so much on your plate.
Дякую. Доброго дня, вітаю
Thank you very
всіх.
much.
Дуже рада бачити
Hello, everyone.
команду
I'm
Розквіт.
really very glad
Я
to see
неймовірно
Rosquid team.
щаслива
I'm
в
so happy today
23-му році, коли ми всі разом
because
зустрілися
in
у Львові на
2023, when we see
Urban
each
Forum
other,
в
when we saw each other
Львові,
in Lviv, when we met
це
each
було
other in
неймовірно,
Lviv
і
Urban Forum,
наше
it was
відносини,
absolutely
можливо,
incredible, and
триває
our
досі.
friendship, our
Це дуже
relations
класно, це дуже
are
круто.
still
І коли я перший раз
are still
звернулася
there.
в нашу
So it is
адміністрацію,
really cool.
звернулася до
And
Розквіту
when our
з
administration
проханням допоможіть
just
нам, будь
approached
ласочка,
Rospit for the first
я
time
попиталася
with the
розповісти,
request,
що
please
нам
help us,
потрібно, то
we tried
спочатку
to
ми вдвох не
tell
зрозуміли,
things to
що
each other, but
українська громада
initially
від нас хоче.
we didn't understand
Але
each
в
other
нас
because, you know,
ізначально постало таке
initially
проблема
we had this
в тому, що
challenge.
коли почалися активні бойові дії
When the
22
full-scale
році,
invasion
результати
started in
цих бойових дій
2022,
була знищена вся
it
містобудівна
ruined
і
all
землепорядна
the
документація.
urban planning
І
and
спочатку
land
ми
owning
розуміємо,
documentation,
що
and we
війна
understand
закінчиться,
that
і ми
the war will
повинні
be over,
приймати
and
дії,
we will
відбудовувати
have
громаду,
to
відновлювати її.
restore our
Але, на
community
жаль,
and to
немає
rebuild it, but
ніяких
unfortunately,
документів.
we have no documents left. So,
Возобновити ті документи, які
to
були,
restore
які
the
були
documents
знищені,
which we used
це
to
було
have,
неможливо.
which were
Тобто
destroyed,
треба
is an
розробляти нові.
impossibility. So we need to
Згідно чинного
design
законодавства
new
України,
ones,
це має
and
бути
under the
комплексний
current
план. І я
legislation, it must be a
просити
comprehensive
Розквіт,
plan.
давайте
And so
зробимо
I
комплексний
approached
план.
Rosquit for support in designing exactly that,
В
the
результаті ми
comprehensive
почали
plan of the territory. And so this started us,
роботу, яка тривала
and
23-го
this
року, можна сказати.
joint
Це
work
було неймовірно круто.
started in 2023, and it was an excellent journey. So the project, which is the result of that, how to plan recovery under full occupation in the case of Hirska community, this is not just a project, this is participatory project, and this is a project that triggers systemic change. And this project had a few stages for us. It started with a dialogue. It started with the analysis of the resources and challenges. We formed the vision, and also we started the many projects. So the participants of the project included primarily the members of our community who were the change leaders, also our administration, and of course the team of Rosquid, Fulco, Jolanta, and all the rest. All our good friends. Why it was very important for us? As I said, you know, our community doesn't have any urban planning documentation. We need to create new documentation, and we understand that our area is occupied. We cannot do any surveys, we cannot go there and see for ourselves, and so it limits our capacity to create this documentation. Even when we start thinking about what we need to design, like we need to start with something, some inputs, but because we have no access to the area of our community, unfortunately, we cannot start with that. So we cannot waste our time either. Even though our area is temporarily occupied, still, though the urban planning is not quite possible, we need to start planning it, because renovation is not only building buildings, it's about reconstruction of networks, it's about consolidating the community. And we understood that the earlier we start this work, then the sooner we will be able to start physical work as soon as our territory is deoccupied. So what exactly we need to plan right now, having such a unique project in hand? Because this project is based upon so much input, and at the same time it has so many branches. We have three scenarios. And on our part, we see that the next step would be to formulate the vision for our community. What kind of community we would like to live in after we return, what we should keep, what we should transform. And also, we see the need to create a catalog of our needs and our damaged objects. So we need to gather statistical data and to work out the analytics. We need to prioritize what objects must be the first to be reconstructed. And this already is started. We have a pool of statistical data, of analytical data, because we had already some meetings, and it was absolutely incredible when people were gathered in those hubs, when people for the first time saw each other in our hubs in Kiev, in Khmelnytsky. Really, people were embracing each other, and they were crying, and they were saying, "I'm so glad to see you again." And so we were also discussing questions to shape our vision, to shape our needs and our requests. And so we had very lively discussions, and it was really very cool. And as a result of all this work, we translated all these inputs into the final input, and we have identified local resources, and we have got the catalog of the possible projects. And these projects, I can say, are absolutely matching the needs of our community. And this is a very strong foundation for our for the work. Like digitalization projects are extremely important. I'm not even mentioning the social projects like temporary housing project. These are all very, very important components. And this is what matches our needs. And of course, capacity development, training of professionals, again, in various areas. What else we can see as our priorities? What we understand, we need to continue gathering information from open sources, from satellite images. We need to talk to our compatriots. We need to maintain and develop our photo archive and make it a map, translate it into a map, so that we could understand which areas must be demined in the first place, what damages we have, how many people are planning to return, like out of 100 people. And we need to understand where this group of 100 people is going to come to. So we need to provide them with housing, because it could be modular housing, whether a person has the house intact or whether the house is bombed and the person has nowhere to go. It is very important also to stimulate the return of the business, because as soon as our residents are back, some of them will be the businessmen who are coming back, and as soon as the businessmen come back, if they do not have any facilities to earn an income, it is not a very good thing. So, of course, we also need social and educational services. We need to understand which people are going to come first. Will they be the people of employable age, or whether kids are coming back, children are coming back, how many schools we will need, how many kindergartens we will need for those who return. We need healthcare, hospitals, social facilities, etc. And as we see it, to prioritize reconstruction, providing housing, temporary living, temporary housing, we need to identify objects. For instance, when we are talking about damaged objects, damaged buildings, If these are one-story houses and the damage is not grave, like for instance, it could be the roof that is damaged or the windows are shattered, we can reconstruct this house very easily and the person will return and use it for living. But quite a different situation is when a multi-storied building is damaged. If it is hit with a missile, and God forbid, it also burned, then this is quite a problem which we need to resolve and we need to investigate. Because, for instance, like the prefab houses have this, strengthening rods, metal strengthening rods, and as soon as there are no people, it stands, but as soon as people come back, it can collapse. So these are issues which will be our further steps to investigate, to develop, to research, and also there are projects already which are already components of this project, like architectural solutions for new schools, for healthcare centers, for administrative centers, and of course for shelters. And our community is actually already working in stage 1 of this project along the guidelines. We can already plan for social and educational projects. We can also deal with the memorialization projects. I would like to mention here that in 2025 in Poltava, we have already opened a center, a hub for our community. We call it the Resilience Center, which provides services for internally displaced people. We also have 2 more projects which have been designed without budgeting yet. But of course, I think it's not worthwhile doing budgeting because it requires, of course, extra funds. But we have prepared visualization and we are carrying on with that. This is the first project is about the logistic hub, and these are the 2 projects planned in Zolote town and Hirska town. And so the second project is about the plant for water purification. And we used to have such a facility, but unfortunately, currently it is either destroyed or flooded. So there is quite a lot of, as we call it, aggressive water, which needs purification. And if we build this plant, then this mine water will be suitable for further usage. So I would like to return to the beginning now. Of course, we must also design the comprehensive plan for spatial development of our territory of the Hirska community. And if there are buildings which can be reconstructed, great. If not, if they cannot be renovated, if they can be only disassembled, then we will have to build new housing. And actually, our master plan, which was designed in 2017 for the central part of the Hirska town, actually, it included a construction of a whole housing block. The land plot was very promising. Actually, we also even had the detailed plan with all the communications, around it and connected to that. And so this plot has very good potential, really. And I would like also to return to the question, why is it important for us? Why is it important for us to work with this project? Why not just wait? Because everything starts with a vision. Without the vision, you cannot move forward. And our people show that they show their commitment to participate in changes. And after the workshops you conducted, we got a lot of phone calls asking us, how are things? How is your project doing? Tell us, please. So, even so, when we have limited resources, we would like to say to everyone, even when you have limited resources, you can launch very strong initiatives if they match the local needs. And the most important thing here, the participation of the community is the guarantee for sustainable development and for long-lasting effect. And what are the results that we expect here from this project? A vision of the future of the Hirska community, which will take into account needs of various layers of the population, prepared projects for the development of our community, which can be applied, which we can submit for funding. Also, preparation and developing our ability to think strategically, and of course, social cohesion between the youth, the business, the administration, to make them partners. And this, of course, will be done on the foundation of the future developed comprehensive plan. And the most important thing here is to design all this documentation with the view of the risks, because unfortunately, the distance between our community and the Russian Federation is 80 kilometers. And this is the key risk we have on our hands. Thank you very much. And in general, it was really cool working with you guys. Thank you. And we are looking forward to continue our cooperation. We will not be able to do without you, dear Rospit.
Thank you for your words and your explanations. In the meantime, we got a lot of discussions going on and questions. Please try to use the Q&A because otherwise the different channels are a bit difficult to follow. From what I saw coming in there was I thought two very interesting discussions. One was from Zotov on the question of volunteer work. My Ukrainian is not that good, so the quick DeepL translation says that you mention it as so-called volunteer work. I wonder if that is right in the translation, because I don't know why you mentioned so-called, because it was really volunteer. It is a very relevant question, and I think it took a long time before we decided, and actually a lot of persuasion from Marina for us to take it on, because indeed we thought, like, we tried to get funding. We asked you to get funding. That didn't work. It was very difficult. Donors are not so happy to give money to occupied territories. And actually, I am pretty sure that if you would not have kept on knocking on the door, probably we would not have done it. But we thought it was a very relevant topic, and then indeed the element of care and of wanting to take it on, and this was really a question to all the individuals in the team: are you willing to spend time on this? Is this is this an option for you? That is my words on it, but maybe Jolanta or Sophia, you also have something to say on it, because the whole point of doing things for free is of course not good, because it should be paid by someone. We do hope that this is an example so that others will start following and see the relevance of it. But please, one of you, can you add something?
Maybe I could just mention that at the beginning of, within the project, there are some quotes from each team member why we decided to work on this project. So then you can find in the answers. It was fully voluntary project. Myself, I am associated with Rosquit. I can decide for myself how I want to spend my free time, and I decided that I want to do this kind of project because it's like based on my professional background, and I found it more useful than, I don't know, volunteering by making some food on the station, which I did when the Ukrainian refugees were coming. But I thought I would like to do something more professional because not everyone can do that. So as I can, I do. As simple as that. There was also in the comment something about unfair competition or something like this. I would like to hear about what is unfair and making this kind of support because I don't get it.
Sophia, you want to act, or we can ask the person to maybe, but we have a lot of questions. So, Flotko, do you want to add something to this about the unfair part? We can also bring it to the screen if that is relevant, maybe in writing. Otherwise, let's go to one of the other questions, because I saw another one asking about the question: how was the final decisions were made? How much were the citizens involved? I think the question is, were there certain votes on decision making? How was that created? Any of you can add?
I think it's not very precise question because decisions about what? About engaging in the project or about selecting the projects, the kind of proposals, recommendations. So if we speak about engaging in the project and everyone made the decision on their own, the team members, well, individually, plus Rosquit as such to dedicate some time of the team members.
No, and
Instead
the
of
end decisions inside the project. Is that like
inside the project, it was discussion with the administration, and we were proposing some ways to look. So we were bringing the structure, and then through the discussions, we were putting it in writing and fine tuning. But it's not really a decision; it's a kind of guidance. So this is proposal, and it's a live document. There's no commitment behind it. So that's how it was made.
clear? What else will we pick up? Maybe when Sophia, you see a question in the Q&A, you are much faster than me, of course, in the Ukrainian, because I translate it all. So just pick one that you think.
Yeah, I want to answer about did we use facilitators or psychologists during our participation events? So no, we did it by ourselves, and but with help from the municipality. On hubs, municipality administration provided the workshop according to our instruction that we contribute them. They did it by yourself. But online workshop we provided from Rosquit courses, and we used Mentimeter online tool. It was really a cool experience because my personal first experience, and I really like it because people are answering on question, and at the same time you can see the result. So it's a cool tool for it. And all analytics, we did it by ourselves.
And also I see a question about, and that's actually, I think, to Marina, about the draft law, how you kept your community calm. It says, it's a little bit a sideline. You can read the question out loud even. Do you see it in the chat? Can you answer, Marina?
Так, я бачу це питання. Ну, я хочу сказати, не приймали ніяких дій поза.
Actually, I can say that we didn't do anything specific about this draft law. We have not a very big community, and we all know each other for many years. And actually, it was very friendly, very peaceful. And I think our speaker has frozen.
Then the question, do you collect information from residents about whatever they are restoring in the city? What caused them discomfort or negative memories before 2014 or 2022? So even so the memories that go back longer, how do you deal with that? Or did you ask questions about those? Maybe Sophia can say something about that one.
Okay, I will change the channel. Я тут вже. Отже, впродовж партисипативних заходів.
During our participatory events, we didn't have this question raised. Actually, we wanted to do it otherwise. We wanted to have people say something cheerful and to understand what their values were and what their bright memories were. And this was our focus. And actually, of course, there were some memories about war, which started in 2014. And these memories were not good. They were about some hard stuff. And yet, we didn't have the question what you do not need to restore. We didn't ask what you need to restore. We actually asked the people about their attitude, whether they believe this is a priority or not. So, talking about the trends in our development, but we didn't focus on specific objects.
Is there more open? Yes, I see something in the Q&A. Sorry, it all goes with a bit of a delay. Yeah, I think that's a very interesting question about the level of cooperation between Hirska community and the neighboring communities in Luhansk. And how much did Rosfit team take into account the spatial everyday connections between the communities in the past also when you were developing the project?
Maybe I can answer briefly. So, of course, we were recommending to collaborate with the whole region. For example, if we think about hospital, it's not that every community has to have the same medical profiles everywhere. So we were looking into connection routes and the distances between them so the people who are in need can be easily transported to the hospital in different areas. Moreover, we also met, I think, 2023 in the autumn in Warsaw. There was a meeting where actually Hirska community was represented together with the whole Ługańsk communities and administration from the region. There was some common discussions. But as said, there's this project which we proposed gives directions and does not give a final definite answers. We were looking especially into the transport routes and the main roads and the bridges which will have to be recovered in the first place to re-establish the collaboration. And maybe Marina can add something to that. How do you work together with Ługańsk region as such?
Так, я хотіла ще доповнити трішечки.
Yeah, I would
Коли
like
в
to
нас
add here something.
тривала робота над цим
When we were doing
проектом,
this work on this project,
то у
we
нас на території України відкрито багато гуманітарних штабів, і які обслуговують не тільки,
in the
наприклад,
area of
Луганська
Ukraine, we
громада,
have a lot of humanitarian
відкрита по
hubs.
всій Україні. І ми
And there
обслуговуємо
are
не
like
тільки
5
мешканців
humanitarian
Луганської громади,
hubs
обслуговуємо,
which are servicing the Hirska community, but also we are
всієї Луганщини.
servicing the whole Luhansk Oblast. And when we were doing this project, we had a lot of meetings, and people would come to our hubs and they would see what it is all about, what kind of work we're doing, and people were very interested, and we would disseminate the news. We were telling them that the Hirska community is doing this kind of project, and this is the way we see it. And so we have communicated all the way, all the time with the Luhansk Oblast residents. And again, I guess our speaker has frozen.
Yeah, sometimes connections. A question from Gala Konienko. Did you have access to the old master plans, and did you use them or consider them?
Я готова відповісти.
I'm ready to answer. Actually, we used to have the master plan for the Hirska town, and that was all. Marina actually mentioned that. She said that practically all the urban planning documentation was destroyed, and even if we wanted to have it, unfortunately, physically, it is not existing. And so presently we know that during our situation in Ukraine, this is classified information, so it cannot be shared, and Hirska community, moreover, doesn't have any.
It's a kind of erased memory, so it had to come from the people itself, and that I think is also why this memory book is so valuable, and also the quest from Marina to collect it and to keep on collecting the data and keep on archiving and keep on mapping and keep on holding it, because so much was destroyed physically, but also in all the documentation and all the writing. So that makes it extra relevant to think about this documentation. Marina, I was also curious, you told a little bit about it already, but are there other communities approaching you on what you are doing and seeing you as an example on how you do it? Do you get questions from similar communities?
Так, звичайно.
Absolutely. When we had a presentation in Kiev, we presented this project in March. There were communities from the Luhansk Oblast. All our neighboring communities were there. And after the event, We were approached by other communities and they asked us how we started, what we started with. They asked us to share experience. We shared our contacts and we are communicating with our neighboring communities and we are discussing these issues.
Yeah, I can imagine. Anyone still having questions left or wanting to enter a discussion? Also, you can just, there's another tool that we have in the Zoom, and that is just raise your hand and we can bring you to the screen if you have something that you want to address or talk about. So it's like also one of the tools underneath in your Zoom screen, and it's on the called React, and then you can raise a hand.
I think there is an interesting question also which we didn't address yet about the negative memories and discomfort and how it was like discovered and addressed. So it's a very good question actually, and we figured it out that it's very important. So we tried to address it, but I think we came to that point a little bit too late after the surveys were already distributed. So through the discussions we were trying to uncover and through the discussions with the administration as well. But in fact, we didn't really figure out, and it's not well reflected in the project about what can be done differently. However, I think because this aspect comes, in my opinion, at the third phase, like the Build Back Better introduction, it is important to understand. But as we were really focused mainly on the first phase, what can be done now, indeed collecting the memories would be good to have. And I agree, this is something which is very useful to know that you also paid attention to that. And then when developing further the methodology, we obviously need to include it in a more decent way. So thanks for that remark.
Yeah, it's true. I saw it too as a very relevant question, and it gets very close to also the whole discussion on contested heritage. What kind of heritage do you keep? What don't you keep? There's another project within Raskvit. It's called Your Heritage, and that is a lot of discussions revolve all the time around that, and it's extremely important to keep on discussing that. And I know it's happening a lot in Ukraine. Like, what is ours, and how do we frame that, and how do we deal with multiple identities and not just one, and not just one heritage but multiple heritage, and how to deal with that also in reconstruction is a very important discussion that needs to be kept alive, I think, and without making too drastic decisions on it. I see a question in the Q&A that I am going to call the last one, looking at the time. So I basically invite Sophia. Could you read that one and maybe out loud? Then Olena can translate and we can see who can take up the question.
Я бачу, що тут радше рекомендація, а не питання.
Actually, I can see that this is a recommendation rather than a question.
Okay, also good.
And so I think it is a recommendation for the Hirska community. So I'm going to read it. OSM and Visicom can help you. Also, you can engage local post people, electricians, telephone connection specialists, etc., to to provide you with inputs, because the comprehensive plan will also use these kind of inputs. And the best thing here is not to waste your time, because it worked for us in 2014, 2019, and I'm sharing my experience. So I guess that this is a recommendation to use open data sources and to keep them updated so that we could use this data later for our comprehensive planning.
Thanks. That's nice to have recommendations, and maybe more things will grow out of this. The project will stay alive, as we said. I'm sure Marina will keep it alive. So for that, it will stay working. It will also be presented by Jolanta and Sofia on Lviv Urban Forum in a couple of days, actually, already, in the half of June. Maybe there are also people who are wanting to pick it up. So let's hope, indeed, it will not stay with this stage. We have put a link to it in the Q&A. Maybe it would be good to also do it in the chat one more time, so people can actually see it, download it, and give recommendations. You will find all kind of contact information also on our website. So please engage yourself if you want to. Then I think it's time to say goodbye and to have everybody a very good night, hopefully a quiet night and some sleep. Thank you so much for doing the work, first of all of you, and for being here and presenting it, and also, of course, for the audience to stay with us and being very engaged and committed. Hope to see you in the next lecture, and wish you a very good night.
Дякуємо всім.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Дуже